Hello, my name is Anya, and today we're going to set up a WhatsApp webhook in our Bubble.io application using backend workflows. And then we're going to be able to store the message that someone sends back to us in our database. Before you get started with this video, make sure you can send a message over here. I'll link a video in the description box below to get you to that point. But for now, let's get right on started with setting up a webhook. I'm going to go over here under products to webhooks, which automatically pops up after installing the WhatsApp product, and I'm going to click subscribe to this object. And here we can see that I'm asked to provide a callback URL and then a verify token. So what does this mean? Really simple. The user does something with WhatsApp, like sends a message, and WhatsApp then informs our Bubble application that something happened, and from there we can do some more stuff. But right now I just want to focus on this one step. The user does something, our Bubble app finds out about it. Then for our Bubble app to find out, there needs to be some way that they are catching this information. Here I'm on my application and I need to make sure that I am on a starter plan. So you can either choose a free trial or upgrade, but you need to be on a starter plan because then we need to go to API and click Enable API and Backend Workflows. Once this is enabled, we can go down here to Backend Workflows. Here I'm going to add a API workflow, and this is going to read Test Webhook. If you're familiar with APIs, it's normally our application calling an API from elsewhere and either sending it data and wanting it to do something or trying to get data from there. What we're doing right now by exposing this as a public API workflow is letting any other application call this workflow, call our application as the API. So we want to also say that this workflow can be run without authentication, and I'm just going to ignore that. Now I want to say trigger workflow with post, but I'm going to say detect request data. Let's click detect data, and I just want to copy over this URL. Now instead of post, this is going to be a get because we need to confirm to Meta, to Facebook, that we are a reliable webhook. So this is going to be a get. And they want to send us some parameters, one of which is going to be hub.challenge. Make sure you spell these correctly. Hub.mode and hub.verify token. The last two are going to be text, while the first one is going to be a number. Now, they're sending this to us and they're expecting to get something back just to confirm that we actually work. So under data things, we're going to say return data from an API, and we want to return plain text. I'm going to click dynamic data and then just click on hub.challenge. Basically, they are going to pass in a value hub.challenge and we want to return it back to them. Let's go over here to webhooks, and instead of user, we want to click WhatsApp business account and then click subscribe to this object. I'm going to paste in the URL that we just copied and change initialize to webhooks with an S at the end. Then we want to choose a verify token. This can be anything because essentially Meta is passing it through the API, but we're just ignoring it. So this value doesn't matter. And now I'm going to click verify and save. And we see this whole thing come up. We have a bunch of these different ones, but I'm going to go down to messages and click subscribe. That's the only one that I actually care about. And perfect. Now we can change this webhook to actually do what we want. This is going to be a post, and they're going to send us some data about the message. And while we could try to replicate it, we just want to be able to detect the request data. So I'm just going to leave it like this. Then I'm going to click search for that WhatsApp Webhook Postman file. And over here under Postman, we have this webhooks by WhatsApp. Under Cloud API, we're going to go to webhooks, and we can see all of these. We're going to choose receive a text message. Instead of a view, we're going to make this a post, and we're going to go over here and just paste in our URL. However, in order to run this, we need to first fork this thing. I'm going to call this webhooks WhatsApp, and it's just going to fork over to my account. I should have mentioned you do need a Postman account, but it's really free. They don't send you any spammy messages, and it's a great resource for testing APIs. Now that we've forked the code, we can go under Cloud API, under Webhooks, and go back to our received text message. Let's make this a post and then paste in our URL with the /initialize at the end. One thing we need to do is click detect data. And now that it's in this mode, now we can click send. And we received a success. So now this is successfully initialized. It sent over what a sample text message would look like, and Bubble is automatically reading that and assigning values to each of these. We can go in and change some of these. For example, we know that from is going to be a number field, not a text field, but most of them don't matter. Now I'm going to click save. So we have set up a webhook. And when we receive a text message, WhatsApp is going to send us something. Now we want to do something with that. Just to make sure that everything is working, I want something visual to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my database. I'm going to create a new thing. Name this message content and create. And this is just going to have one thing, which is going to be body and a text. This is really just to make sure that everything is working. Then in our workflow, we're going to go here and we're going to make a new thing. When a message is sent, we want to create a new object of type message content. And we want to set body equal to the request data's entries, request data's raw body text, the request data's objects, the request data's entries, first items, changes, first items, value messages, first items, text body. And this is just going to return the value of the message. We can go over here to messages and click test. This is sending us something where the body is this is a text message, and click send to my server. It was successfully sent, and if we go over here in our database under app data, we can see that we have a message type saying this is a text message. So we have just validated that our API workflow works exactly as expected. From here, you can do anything you want, create whatever workflow, send the user an email, do whatever. But at this point, you know how to set up an API workflow. I hope this. One quick thing, if I go over here to the same thread where we had previously sent a message and say this is a sample text message. Send that. We go back to our bubble editor. We can see that show up in our database. So our webhook works both from Meta's testing database and then also in real life.